What's up, Previews World, and welcome to Previews World Weekly on this week's show. Please, DC Marvel, hashtag please, DC Marvel, wash your hands to Dune and My Hero Academia. Comics in quarantine with us. It is Previews World Weekly, and it's happening live in my house right now. What's up, Previews World? It is Wednesday. Well, I guess I can't say it's really new comic book day, but welcome to Previews World Weekly. I'm one of your hosts, Troy Jeffrey Allen.
And I'm your other host, Ashton Greenwood.
Yeah,
Comic
and
Book
Ashton's
Day,
on a
which
bit
we're
of a
working
delay,
on
as you can
making it
tell.
happen.
Yes, there you go. I mean, actually, that's our first announcement or non-announcement of this week. Like a lot of things are in flux right now, and Ashton, like you just said, free comic book day. It's going to happen somehow, some way. We're just still trying to figure it out, as I think the rest of the world is. So don't be too brutal to us, guys. Anything else you want to throw in there, Ashton, just for people who are looking forward to free comic book
Right.
day?
We promise. Yeah, I'm just trying to hammer it home that it is not canceled. The books are already printed. They're in our warehouse. We have them. We just don't know when yet.
Right, exactly. So yeah, again, a lot is in flux right now. I wish we could have some great answers for you. I can give you guys some loose updates on some of your favorite publishers right now, actually, because I kind of feel it's important to at least kind of update you on what's going on with publishers. We'll get to DC and Marvel in a second, but like I actually have a great website called Sketched.com open right now. I know normally we don't big up other websites, but it just so happens that they have a great laundry list of different publishers and what they're doing in order to combat this lull in publishing. So I recommend you check that out. But I can give you a really brief overview of what some of the things that are being said right now. As far as consumers are concerned, Image Comics is not releasing digitally before print. And actually, you should know they do have free number ones on their website. So I would actually recommend that you go check that out. Um, check out the number one and then check with your local comic shop and find out what their situation is and if it's altered at all, and see if you can get the continuation of those stories if you find something you like from Image Comics. A lot of great books from Image, by the way, so you should definitely check those out. Boom Studios, Dark Horse, and IDW also not releasing digitally before print. So again, um, you're not going to be able to find these things ahead of the print book. So since we're on pause, that means that those books are more than likely on pause. So sorry to Umbrella Academy fans or Hellboy fans or Power Rangers fans or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fans. Archie Comics, Ashton, your favorite. Um, they're not releasing digitally
Woo!
before print as well. Uh, yeah, they are. There you go. A little, definitely a delay, but still Ashton's favorite. They're not releasing digitally before print. Dynamite and Oni Press are pausing digital until print is back up. So again, everything's on hiatus, guys. And as far as Marvel and DC goes, currently, as far as consumers are concerned, we're kind of in flux right now. Some news might have come out maybe while we're doing the show, so I apologize if I'm a little late to the party if you're hearing something different. But keep an eye on previewsworld.com, and we will keep you guys updated. On to the fun stuff. How about the fun stuff, Ashton? You ready for some fun stuff?
I'm ready for some fun stuff.
So Ashton and I checked out Birds of Prey this weekend. We watched it and we made a little homework exercise. And Ashton, I'm gonna start with you. What did you think of Harley Quinn and the was it the Fantabulous Emancipation of Harley Quinn, aka Birds of Prey? And I know I said that backwards, but let's be real, it's a Harley Quinn movie. What did you have to say?
I liked it. It was entertaining. I was entertained by it.
uh,
I thought for me, I think Margot Robbie's a great choice for Harley. So that movie flaws with those. We all pretty much even agreed that Margot Robbie is a great Harley Quinn. However, I thought Ewan McGregor, really the star of that movie, I thought he stole every single scene that he was in. He was delicious delightfully a total maniac, and I loved his character. I and disliked the way they told the story with the flashbacks and they played around with chronology. I felt like it was kind of like annoying and hard to follow from time to time in terms of keeping up with the
Hmm.
plot. I felt like the plot didn't really start until like halfway into the movie. But I mean, it's a superhero movie, so I was entertained. I had a good time.
See, I'm going to be the harsh critic here. First of all, actually, let me say up front, be like just starting off positive. Whoever choreographed the fights in that movie, I don't know who choreographed those fights, but like whoever did choreograph those fights did a dynamite job. Like they made Harley Quinn's ability to take down like 15 people at the same time like look credible and impressive, and you kind of buy into the fact that like she is like this quote unquote supervillain. That said, I am not a fan of how they nerfed a lot of these characters. Excuse me. A lot of my issue is like the movie is over the top. And so I don't understand, like in an over the top movie, why the concept of costumes and to a somewhat of a degree powers um, seems like too much for a film like this. Like everything about this movie is big and grand, and it's meant to match Harley's personality. But they decided to kind of nerf Black Canary. Like we get a little carrot of her abilities at the end of the movie. I didn't like the idea that Cassandra Cain was just not Batwoman. Also, a Birds of Prey movie without Batgirl is a little weird to me. Like, yeah, I just also one thing I hate is Batman movies that take place in Gotham, and Gotham just looks like any other city. Like a lot of this movie looked like it was Los Angeles, or the Tenderloin, or like or San Diego or something like that. And I just like I want Gotham City to be a character. That's a big deal for me. I just think that if you're going to sell the concept of Gotham being this city that needs a Batman, then you got to really characterize it not just in the people, but also in the city itself. So that's my 5 cents of nerdity right now. So yeah, I mean, I thought it was okay. It's not horrible, not worth all the nerd outrage that I heard about it beforehand. Also, maybe not worth all the praise that I heard about it as well, to be honest. So, anything else to offer? Add on, Ashton?
I mean, I think the nerd out. Okay,
Johnny's having fun with sound effects.
outrage. I
Go for it.
I think that the nerd outrage was maybe a little unwarranted. When I went in to watch it, I thought I was like kind of like dreading it and so angry about it. I was like, okay, I'm about to waste the next 2 hours of my life watching this thing. But you gotta know like that your expectations shouldn't be that high. Like if we're coming off of like this character that was born out of Suicide Squad, like you shouldn't have high expectations. So if you go into it not expecting anything, it's fun, it's enjoyable. Just let yourself enjoy that it's gonna be goofy.
Right, yeah. I mean, I actually, one of the cool things I think about the DC EU is like each movie is going to be a standalone thing. So if you didn't like it, you don't have to even recognize it really. Like, you can move on. And if you did like it, it's part of your canon. Go for it. One last thing, and then we'll get into some comic shop picks this week. What we're comics and quarantining with this week. Ashton, you've been reading Dune, haven't you?
Dude, I am halfway through it. We're getting there.
Now, which Dune book? Because there's multiples, right? Like, which Dune book are you reading right now? Aren't there like a few of them?
I'm reading the first one, the original one. I mean, the cover up for some reason. I'm rough on books. There's a 5, I think, in the series.
Hmm.
6 in the series.
Yeah, well, that sounds about right. Yeah, actually, don't feel bad about your books because, like, I mean, I know some of these look pristine behind me, but at the same time, a book with some ear markings and some wear and tear means that it's been loved. It's been read, which is the whole point of it. But actually, the reason I asked you that is because we exchanged a little meme this week, and you want to tell people more about it?
Yes, I do. It's actually Mike Allred brought it up on Twitter, and he suggested that when you go to wash your hands, that you memorize and recite the "Fear is the Mind Killer" mantra from Dune. And I did it earlier today, just about 20 seconds, depending on how fast you read it. So, for those of us that would like to perhaps try it out, comes highly recommended from yours truly. It goes, "Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will permit it to pass over me and through me, and when it has gone past me, I will turn to see where the fear has gone. There will be nothing. Only I will remain."
I love it. Yeah, actually, I am familiar with that term. Actually, I actually ripped it for a comic I did. So, yeah, fear is the mind killer. Shout out to was it Frank Herbert for giving us something to wash our hands with?
Yes.
Because Happy Birthday was getting old. Okay, let's talk about some comics. Hey, so it's time to talk a little comics in quarantine. We started a hashtag online called Comics in Quarantine, and the idea was basically to, look, there's no new stuff coming out, but we can at least, if you're anything like me, you have a backlog of comics that you need to get to. And so we asked the people on Twitter what they were reading. And so now we're going to share with you what we're reading during this time. So, Ashton, do you want to go first?
I will go first. Okay. Reading the Relay series, which I have them here out of order. Oh my god, that is killing me. Okay. So I'm rereading the Relay series, but I can't hold up. I'm particularly excited about this. I was at a few weeks ago. I was at Cards, Comics, and Collectibles in Reisterstown, and I finally found an in print. I'm still missing Relay number 5 in print. But after having found that, I was like, I need to go back and reread this. It's basically like a futuristic dystopian adventure. I guess I would say action adventure, and it centers around basically this thing called the monolith, which is a tool that they use forcibly assimilate other cultures across the galaxy into one uh, cultural idea. And so for the longest time, everybody's kind of been going along with this, and it's just it is until finally our hero is like, this is there might be something hurting, so to speak, and so there is. I don't want to spoil it. I actually love this series. It comes highly recommended. Also, book in 2018, so gotta get that plug in. But yeah, if you're a fan of sci-fi, sure, this is a really fun one. It's from Zach Thompson, and Donny Cates actually had a hand in it too. So that is what I.
Yeah, I read the first. I think I read the first issue because it was a free comic book day title, right?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, I did. And the artwork, I forget who the artist is on the first issue. Maybe you can like tell me. But the artist on that book is absolutely phenomenal. Like he is a great artist.
It's Andy Clark.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Andy Clark did the art.
Andy Clark, right? Yeah, yeah. His artwork is absolutely fantastic. I love it. Actually, one thing I have a question here. I can't really answer it, but like I'm looking at the live chat here on YouTube. Spirit Comics was wondering when Diamond decides to start distributing comics again. Do you think they are going to start from April 1st? And truthfully, I couldn't tell you. I mean, I would kind of assume so since the distribution stopped at April 1st. But again, stay tuned to PREVIEWsworld.com. I want to provide answers when I can, but unfortunately, like I said, like most of the world, everything is in flux right now. So as time goes on, we'll have some more answers for you, I promise. But thank you for the question, Spirit Comics. And also, guys, if you're in the live chat, please I'm looking over here constantly to see what you're saying. So definitely ask us some questions and we will answer them. Not a problem. On YouTube, I should point out, because I actually don't have Facebook open right now. Sorry, Facebook. So the book I'm comics and quarantined with, besides a lot of other books, of course, is a book that I think is probably the best Avengers movie ever put to page, if that makes any sense. Here, I'm gonna grab it real quick. But it is, here we go. Can we see this?
That's
Okay.
high praise.
It is The Ultimates 2. It is. It's Ultimates 2 by Brian Hitch and Mark Miller. This is the sequel to The Ultimates. And I've noticed a lot of people consider the Ultimates to be like this, this groundbreaking work, which it is, but not a lot of people talk about its sequel. And so, two things you need to know about this sequel. First of all, there's a rumor that Grant Morrison co-wrote this story because Mark Miller was going through some medical issues. Now, whether that's true or not, I can't tell you. But if it is true, that makes this book all the better. And I'm saying that as someone who's a Mark Miller fan and a Grant Morrison fan. But on top of that, Brian Hitch returns to do the art on this book, and he really does draw photorealistic characters. Like a lot of people like to throw around the term photorealism, like realistic looking characters. I know we had a conversation about J. Scott Campbell's artwork recently on the previous show where we talked about this, but his work really is like almost like getting a movie, like it's almost like getting a movie version of it is like getting a movie version of your favorite Avenger story. And I just want to point this out because this version, which is a hardcover, comes with this, okay, this is a little clumsy, but it comes with this monstrous, you
Oh
can't
my
even see all of it,
god.
this monstrous multi-page spread of the Ultimates, just digging into everybody's you know what. But the reason I love this is actually because it's also a very clever book. Um, the premise is basically that while the Avengers, or the Ultimates as they're called here, um, are kind of acting as stooges for the federal government, which is actually a callback to an older to a run of Avengers from like the late 70s and 80s. And so while that's simultaneously going on, um, a big question is raised during the course of this story, and that is, okay, Thor says he's a god, but why do we believe him when he just tells us that? Maybe he's crazy. Wait a minute. And then on top of that, in this version, Thor is a bit of a hippie, right? And so Thor is kind of a bit of a rebellious hippie in the story as well. So what you get is Thor starts speaking out against the actions of the Ultimates, the Avengers. Like he's just sort of like, we are government stooges. I want no part of this. And so that becomes a problem. And what it culminates in is a fight between Thor and the Avengers. And that's only the halfway point of the story. The second half of it is that all this government intervention that the Ultimates have been doing on behalf of Shield, government intervention in foreign countries that the Avengers have been doing on behalf of Shield, um, comes back to bite them in the butt in a big way as well. And so the big mystery at the center of this is Thor telling the truth? Is he a god or is he really full of it? And they really do play with that really well. It's such a great run and just a clever story, just a fun story, and just a lot of ass kicking. I got to be real with you guys. Like it's just they just throw down so hard in this book. It's absolutely wonderful. So Ultimates 2. I know a lot of people talk about the Ultimates, but Ultimates 2 is where they kind of, I think, perfected the Ultimates story. So check that out. And also, actually, guys, in the chat, let us know what you're actively quarantined with in reading. And if you're, and also if you're on Twitter and you're catching this, we have a hashtag called Comics and Quarantine that we also are using. A lot of people have taken to that, which I'm grateful for, and they're sharing the books that they're reading. They're sharing, some indie artists are sharing their web comics. Oh, hey, a train. I live next to the train track, guys. Sorry, I'm on the wrong side of the tracks today. Um, yeah, like we're using the hashtag comics in quarantine, and yeah, people are sharing what they're reading. Some indie artists are in there also sharing their books. I'm totally cool with that. It's really just about building community. I don't care if you're on the digital side or the printing side, or you're just someone who wants to be a comic book creator and you just want to share your artwork. I've seen some of that. Share share it with us. Use hashtag comics in quarantine, and also just let us know what you're reading because I want some reading suggestions. I like more. So I love comics. On that note, anything else to throw out there, Ashton?
I just wanted to say over on Free Comic Book Day, been polling people, and they've gotten very excited about it. Their top four all-time favorite comic book characters, and
Yeah.
it's been really exciting. Everybody's gotten a lot of takes on it. Everybody's throwing out, and I've been surprised, I have to say, of some of the characters that people have really gone into the vault for. Like, I mean, Batman showed up a number of times. Spider-Man has showed up a lot, probably more than any of the other, like, what I call mainstream heroes. Spider-Man has shown up a lot of more obscure characters people have picked.
Team Spider-Man.
I hate you,
No,
Troy.
actually.
But yeah, so if you want to throw out
No, and
your top four on Free Comic Book Day, and I'll retweet the tweet that is kind of the one everyone's going off of, so then you guys can get on that thread. And I've been retweeting a lot of them, so.
yeah, no, I saw that, and as soon as I saw that, I don't want you to get a big hit here, but I was kind of like, that's brilliant. Way to go, Ashton. um,
Thank
actually,
you.
I should. There you go. There you go. I was waiting for the big thank you. Actually, I should also point out on the Comics in Quarantine hashtag, we're also running a contest, which is a competition between publishers. It's DC, Marvel, IDW, Image, Dark Horse, and Valiant, and we're trying to figure out who has the most superior super team. And so, follow the hashtag Comics in Quarantine. We're doing like a March Madness style bracket, and it's cool because I think we did DC Comics, Suicide Squad versus Savage Avengers. The Suicide Squad went over. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. There's the Spawn Team Spawn, which is like medieval Spawn and a bunch of other Spawns and regular Spawn, of course. The Power Rangers, Unity from Valiant. Just a slew of really cool. The boys kicked it off. They were actually the first to get knocked out, which I'm a little upset about. But I'm also upset that the Savage Avengers got booted. But I didn't account for extreme bias from certain fans on this. But yeah, like the last round is today. It'll probably go up about 5 o'clock, 5:30. So if you're watching this, run on over to our Twitter, our Facebook, or our YouTube because there will be an opportunity to vote for the greatest of the current roster of superhero teams, like from all our big publishers. Hey, DJ Young, my goal is to finish Chew and catch up with Doc Afra right now. I've actually heard some really good things about Doc Afra, actually. That's a popular Star Wars book. And they say he's just going to hit the random pile of stuff I grabbed. Hey, that's a good strategy. I totally get that. I'm 100% there with you, buddy. All right, so how about a little bit of a shameless plug, real quick? So if you're checking out our feed, you might have noticed that we've been floating a video of a show that we're doing called The Panel. Now, this was the last episode we did before the quarantine, but the idea with the panel is it's a book club. In that book club, we discuss a particular title. We dive in the previous episodes, which you can find on YouTube and Facebook and on our website. Were Batman Hush. We did Paper Girls, and the most recent one is My Hero Academia. And so Maki Roll, cosplayer Maki Roll, joined us. It's hosted by Animia. I was on the show, and also Carrie Wood of Gemstone Publishing. So here's a clip of that to whet your appetite. And then before you turn this off and watch it, stick around because we're going to talk about more.
When Bakugo was getting consumed by
the goo,
sludge goo monster,
venom,
like
basically.
you could literally see his face like peeling, like, and it was a little bit uncomfortable, but I really liked it. Like it was exciting.
The way that Bakugo's eyes are drawn in that one moment where it's like you can tell that like he's crying out for help in that moment with just the look in his eyes. I'm just like, oh,
but
my
he
boy.
still wants to be like the tough guy.
Right.
And
Right.
he, as you could probably tell, he's my baby.
I wasn't prepared for all the anime feels at that table. I swear to you, like Maki Roll and Carrie were both gushing over some of the characters, and I was like, okay, I forgot that this is how people in fandom interact sometimes. And like, actually, I didn't forget that, but it's interesting to kind of have. Well, you know what I like about the panel it's a combination of nerds who all come from different perspectives meeting together to discuss one topic. And it's always interesting to kind of see what different people take away from a particular story. I'm a big advocate. My personal stance is always
Mhm.
what the author says is what the book is. I don't care what anybody else says. I'm not opening it up to interpretation. I only care what the author says. But I also know that not a lot of people agree. There are people that don't agree with that. And so it's fun to kind of get like those alternate views against mine. And I think it would be fun. It'll also be fun for you watching at home. Hey, Ashton. Delay, 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 delay.
Hey, Troy.
How about some social swamp? Delay, 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 delay.
I'm ready.
Okay. Uh, all right. So I'm gonna give a little bit of background on this. Normally, Ashton sets the stage for this, but look, guys, it has been a busy last couple of weeks in a lot of ways. So I'm gonna handle this one because I happened to see this on Twitter and I thought it was interesting. So last week, I want to say, Gail Simone, I think it was Gail Simone, started this hashtag called Please DC Marvel. And the reason for this hashtag was that in the wake of the coronavirus, I know a lot of shops are concerned about comics. They're concerned about like the distribution stopping. They're concerned about like, the base kind of going to other things. And so it's a reality that everyone is having to bring into question, and I understand that those questions are important. Um, but Gail Simone's solution is like, well, you know what? When the doors open back up and like the quarantine is over and like the world is healthy again, which will happen. Gail Simone suggested that we do a DC versus Marvel crossover. Now, this isn't anything new, mind you, because like previous to this, for the last couple of months, there was rumors that Donny Cates and was working on a DC Marvel crossover where Thor would take on Superman. And Ashton, don't start, because I don't want to have this this Thor versus Superman conversation with you again. But
It just doesn't make any
uh,
sense. Okay,
we asked.
continue.
Okay, you know what? You were bursting at the seams to get it out of your system, so I'm gonna just run with it. It makes perfect sense. Anyway, so please DC Marvel the hashtag invited actual creators and fans to talk about their favorite versus their favorite battles, the battles that they would like to see. I'm stammering. The battles they would like to see in a DC versus Marvel crossover. And so we thought it was a good idea to run on over to Free Comic Book Day, which Ashton is the Duchess of and the Keeper of the Flame, and ask her followers, yo, what's up? What do you wanna what fight do you want to see? So what do you got, Ashton?
A lot of good always. Everybody's always very opinionated on Free Comic Book Day, which I can appreciate. So, firstly, from Brian said, if there was ever a character who would literally bring the DC universe into the pages of the Marvel universe, such a crossover would cause massive disruptions in continuity. So, naturally, everyone would blame Gwen and try to stop her in order to get things back to normal.
I actually
Derek
kind of like that
Nadu
idea
said,
of her being
I
the
would love to
catalyst.
see something like I think so too. Like, I think that could be really interesting. Any sort of Deadpool, anything could be really cool there.
Yeah.
But to jump back into the answers, Derek Nadu said, I would love to see something a little different where the heroes swap villains, for example, Superman versus Magneto, Bane versus Spider-Man, Batman versus Hulk versus Doomsday, and the cherry on top would be Justice League versus Thanos, which Justice League versus Thanos sounds
Nice.
incredible.
It does.
Jet Macaday, probably said your last name wrong, and I'm sorry. He said Dr. Manhattan versus Molecule Man.
I love
Jonathan
that. That's awesome.
Benson out here saying everyone's last name wrong. He said Thor versus Shazam. Sean Figueroa said, I hope if they do another crossover, I hate versus crap. Love a good hot take. And finally, Larry Nichols Jr. said, Animal Man versus Howard the Duck.
Brilliant. I love the Dr. Manhattan versus Molecule Man, because we discovered that Molecule Man is not to be effed with after Secret War by Jonathan Hickman. So they actually might be on the same level of power, and it'll be interesting to see them just reshape the universe in their image if they wanted
Mhm.
to. Also, shout out to Animal Man versus Howard the Duck. That's actually just absolutely brilliant. I love that. Um, any any team ups that you would
Chef's
like to
kiss,
see, Ashton?
brilliant.
Yes, brilliant. Chef's kiss, brilliant. Any team ups you'd like to see?
I really love the idea of Superman versus. This delay is killing me right now.
I know, sorry.
I think the idea of Superman versus Captain America. I think it would be so cool to like these like ultimate ideals of good on each side to be battling each other, because now you're having like there's this more like what is more just, who's more just, and what would even be something big enough to bring those two to blows.
Actually, you know what? I'm a co-sign that, and I'm actually going to say I kind of feel like Superman would turn Captain America into paste, but I would love to just have. I mean, not really, because I'm sure it's not interesting
Oh,
as a comic. But I would love, 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 love to have Superman and Captain America debate each other. You know what I mean? Just like have them argue the fine points of morality, like you know what I mean, of justice, like have them do that. I think that would be actually very fascinating.
this is suddenly something that I desperately need.
I think that would be really interesting. Like you know what? I'll even go even further. In the Marvel universe, there's a cosmic being called Eternity, and I'm about to say Entropy. Is it Eternity? Guys in the comments, remind me if this is the case. But there's these cosmic beings called Eternity and Entropy, and in previous books that I've read, they've been in a dialogue with somebody at the edge of the universe to kind of figure out where the universe should go. And I would love to put Superman and Captain America in that situation, and they have to decide the fate of the universe or the fate of each other's universe. And like Captain America has to decide the fate of the DC universe, and Superman has to decide the fate of the Marvel universe. That's my big idea. There you go. That's super dorky, I know.
Oh, that would be wild.
I think that would be cool. And also, yeah, I'm here for Molecule Man and Dr. Manhattan. I just think that you could do the same thing with them, truthfully. Yeah, like any other, if you guys have any, I actually have some more in the chat here, but if you guys have any other DC versus Marvel wishes that you would like to see come to fruition, let us know in the chat, and also let us know in the comments after the show is done, because it'll go straight to YouTube and Facebook, not just live, but you can also catch it afterwards. And I have another comment here. It says, next time they do
I
an
have a
anime talk.
question.
Okay, so this is yeah, I'm sorry, what's up? What's your question?
What if though? I didn't mean to derail the comment section, but now, what
That's okay.
if you sit down Superman and Captain America to have this big like moral debate, and they just agree with each other? The likelihood of them being like having very similar moral center points.
Well, I think that truthfully, I think Captain America can be a little bit more pig-headed than Superman to a fault. I mean, I think that's what we love about him, and that's also what Tony Stark sometimes hates about him. And I think Superman actually can kind of see the long game and see every ass. Like he's also more of he's also, they're both characters who just take action. So I don't know if they would necessarily agree on anything. I think it would be interesting if they didn't agree on anything, but they actually just had a philosophical debate about, like I said, morality, justice. Like I think that'd be pretty interesting, maybe for like a page or two instead of a fight.
I'd be interested to see it.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I think that would be cool. But yeah, one more thing before we start to shove out here. One of the comments, this is about the panel. They say next time they do an anime talk, or I guess he means a manga talk. He's talking about the panel. Talk them into doing prison school. That will be hilarious, and a hilarious, uncomfortable conversation. And let me tell you,
Yeah,
I
you love
completely
prison
agree, sir. It would be.
school,
I
right?
love prison school. Yes, I do. I have like multiple volumes here that I actually have not opened yet. So this is going to be part of my comics and quarantine process. Is actually getting through the rest of prison school, which I'm about to knock over all my books. But yeah, I'm gonna get through the rest of it. Believe me, it was a very amusing day when my GF saw me reading it next to her, and she was like, "What are you? What is that?" And I think she thought I was an anime perv for a couple of hours, but I think we're past that now, so that's good. Okay, so one last thing before we shove off, right? Um, we saw some pretty amusing COVID-19 memes online, and I just wanted to call attention to one of my favorites on the list of memes. And I actually thought it was actually a nice sentiment. It features the Infinity War. So, Johnny, can you pull that up? Look at that. I love that. Just a small reminder that not all heroes wear capes, but most wear masks, and some of those who wear masks are healthcare workers. And I just kind of like the sentiment behind this. Like, I know there's a lot of ignorance in the meme world right now in regards to coronavirus. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't laugh at them because I do, but they are ignorant as hell. And I know you've seen them too, Ashton.
That's true.
Yeah.
Guilty.
But guilty, no, 100%. But I thought that was a nice sentiment. The idea that, like, the healthcare workers, oh man, you know what I just thought about? I don't know if I should say this out loud. I don't know if I should say this on camera. Uh, there, there's some parallels here, I think, actually, that I didn't even think about before about Thanos and what's going on in the world. But I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm not even gonna cross that bridge because I don't want to get anybody in trouble, myself included, because people have nothing else to do right now but look at the internet and like yell at me. So I'm gonna
Oh,
pause on that. But yeah. Anyway, Ashton just caught it. Um, so Ashton, we got a comic shop shout out this week.
we do, and I'm so excited about it. I love this comic shop name. Shout out to Holy Moly Comics and deserves all the appreciation they get and more. They're an absolute treasure to their customers and community. To visit their new location, at 90 King Street, Northampton, Massachusetts. Even got that address plug. So shout out to them.
Yeah, no, that's thanks for doing your duty and like giving them a shout out. Hopefully they're currently open. I don't know what the situation is in Massachusetts right now, but I think there's some, I think there's an opportunity. Hopefully a lot of stores will have an opportunity to get some support from their base. So definitely check them out if you're in the Massachusetts area. And shout out to Jesse Clark for giving us that comic shop shout out this week. And I guess that's it for Previews World Weekly. Sorry, I keep looking over here. I'm checking out the comments right now. But yeah, I think that's it for Previews World Weekly. Hey Johnny, what are you doing here?
Welcome, Johnny.
You're muted, Johnny. This is our editor.
Check,
This is the
check.
guy that makes it
He's
possible for
doing
us to do.
nothing,
There he is.
apparently.
This is the guy that's in charge, and I didn't have myself on mic. That's great. I'm doing a bang up job. But Troy, real quick, I just wanted to remind you.
You're killing it, Johnny.
Thank you. Just wanted to remind you, Troy, about the game that we have that we're working on.
Oh yeah. So we're trying this out. Like I think this will be slowly unfolding as we go. But like, there's a game called Quiplash that we have accessed recently, and we're just trying to figure out ways to implement it into a video, almost like a game show that you guys who are watching us back home can participate in. So keep an eye out for that because like we had some fun with it, just answering stupid questions. It's kind of like Cards Against Humanity where it's kind of like you have to kind of one up everybody, and we had some pretty fun answers when we were just doing it privately. So yeah, just keep an eye out on our feed for that because like we might have an opportunity for all of us, and yes, I mean all of us, you guys in the chat, Ashton, myself, Johnny, might even bring in some of the other Previews World All Stars to jump in. I might have an opportunity to play Quiplash and have some geeky fun during this time of quarantine. So yeah, thank you for that, Johnny. I appreciate it. And that's it for Previous World Weekly. Yeah, that's it. I had to check my outline one more time, but that's it for Previous World Weekly. Thanks for joining us, guys. We appreciate you spending time with us. We could be doing anything in the world, but you're spending time with us. And that's a quote from Jay-Z. Yes, it is. So, yeah, thanks for joining us. And I am one of your hosts, Troy Jeffrey Allen.
I'm your other host, Ashton Greenwood.
And, I literally, as I was saying it, I was like, that's a Jay-Z quote. Like, I slowly realized that as I was saying that. That is not an original at all. Anyway, thanks, guys. And we will see you next Wednesday. We will be back here live next Wednesday. So tell your friends, tell everybody that we're doing this, because we will see you guys at the Spinner Rack. All right. Take care. God bless.
That's sweet.